Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Hello, and once again, thank you for tuning in to the Iron Hour podcast. I am Barra, and I'm joined today by Max Bell, but also Becky. Becky making a return to the podcast, so
Woo!
we're very pleased to have her
Hello,
back.
guys.
A huge shout out as well to our sponsors, Best Blanks Wholesale, of course, hitting us up with all the merch. Big shout out to them. So, I'll kick off for you, Becky. How are you doing, first of all?
I'm very good. Yeah, I look like I've got two thick lips, but let's ignore that and go for my good, great personality instead, eh? So I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. We're still top of the league, Max.
Yeah, we are. You're not going to ask me how I am?
How are you doing, mate?
All the better for seeing you, because I know you hate that line. I do have a question though. What is the Chris Kamara thing just going to stay?
Think so.
I like
I
him.
think so. Yeah, I quite like
He
it.
cheers me up.
I'll get bored at some point and get rid. But yeah, for now I'll stay, I think.
How
So
are you?
Max,
How are you?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Can we talk football?
Do we
I'd
have
love
to?
to talk football. Well, you say that. I mean, you don't strike me as a glass half empty kind of guy. How do you kind of analyze and dissect Tuesday night's defeat away at Kiddminster Harriers?
So, look, anybody who follows particularly lower league football often enough, you get them away games where, particularly on the night, you know that nothing's going for you. Um, we didn't play that great. I didn't actually think Kiddminster were that great. Thought in the second half the ref was appalling. But look, it's not the referee's fault that I never thought we really got the grips with Kiddminster's wing backs. It's not the referee's fault that realistically, how many saves did Dibble actually have to make in goal? Like genuinely testing saves. I think I remember one. It wasn't the referee's fault that when Rose got injured, we switched to five at the back, and I don't think that worked. It wasn't the referee's fault that we took Beck off, but still kept going long. It wasn't the referee that decided not to bring Fadira on at any point, even when we were absolutely desperate for a goal.
There's a long
So,
list here.
yeah, look, it was just one of those nights. I mean, Jesus Christ, even the bus I was on got lost on the way home. Like you just get them nights as a supporter where absolutely nothing goes for you. It was one of them nights, but I would agree with what John Schofield said after the game on BBC Radio 1 beside when he said that it wasn't season defining. I would agree with that.
No, it definitely wasn't season defining, and we said that before the game. We actually said the opposite, didn't we? We said for Kidderminster, it was definitely a 3-pointer, a 6-pointer, as the expression goes. But it was a must-win for them. They obviously got that win. Now, I did hear Max that interview that you alluded to there with Schofield, where he was asked about whether he thought the players played the occasion instead of the game. And I'll be honest with you, I saw it the complete opposite. So I thought actually we didn't rise to the occasion, if that makes sense. I thought there was a huge kind of spectacle there, a huge opportunity. And actually the players just thought, well, it's a bit of a free hit. It is what it is. You know, if we lose, we lose. We'll put it right on Saturday. And I feel like there was points to be had there if we'd have kind of won a bit, particularly in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think that look, when it came to producing moments of quality, that sometimes application is different than mentality. We'd lost once in 3 months. We knew that it was going to come to an end at some point, and I'm probably persuaded by the case that of our last 10 games of the season, Kiddminster away was the toughest on paper.
Mm.
They've got a decent home record. They're well set up. Phil Brown knows how to get the best out of get the best out of the resources he has in front of him. They get the ball wide, they look for crosses into the box, they try not to make defensive mistakes. And whilst Beck was genuinely really unlucky with that second header in the first half, where I believe ironically it was the Kiddminster number 9 who made a brilliant defensive clearance. If Kiddminster had been 1-0 up after 3 minutes, I don't think any of us would have had any complaints.
No, definitely. Becky, Max touched on there the fact that the unbeaten run came to an end and probably inevitable, really, that it would. How do you feel about that? Because I guess there's a school of thought that would say, and I'm particularly thinking here about the 2013-2014 season, where that unbeaten run became a little bit of a noose around our neck. And actually, at times, we were kind of playing for draws where maybe we should have pushed on. Is there an element that maybe a little bit relief that that run is over? Now we can just go out to win games?
Yeah, do I think that Butler had the same mentality as Russ Wilcox in that point? Russ knew we was doing really well. We was in a higher league. It's not as scrappy as the National League North was. I don't think Butler went out there to lose or just to carry on his unbeaten run. However, it is disappointing, but we need to think about getting as many points as possible to get us out of this league instead of trying to see the importance of getting the glory of preserving an unbeaten run. The way I see it, you can play 3 games and you can draw all 3, and that's 6 points lost. Or you can lose 1, win 2, and that's only 3 points lost. And although we've lost the unbeaten run, we've gained 3 points, and that's most important here. So I do think it's probably a godsend in the end, especially with Chester coming up. We've got Chester, we've got the big attendance, so there's a lot of pressure on the boys already. So I think just taking that away is really good. And people come to us and they want to win, especially with a packed out park. They want to win, so it just takes one less pressure off Butler, I think.
I would hope so. Let's look at that game specifically on Tuesday night then, Max. There's a lot of talk around formations and tactics. Kiddminster, for example, they did play 3 or 5 at the back, however you want to say, and really looked quite stretched at times, particularly in that first half. We were very narrow, and when Kiddminster were out of possession, I thought they hunted in packs. Question, bit of a controversial question. Do you think this was the occasion for 5 at the back?
No, I don't. I don't think I do actually. Particularly as when we did switch to 5 at the back, I don't think it worked. We've seen it, albeit on a far grander scale. We've seen it with Manchester City. How many games far into European competitions did Guardiola then try and do something clever and try and reinvent the wheel tactically when they got into a big game? And they had that run of probably 3 or 4 years consecutively where it bit them on the backside. If you've been unbeaten for 3 months playing 4 at the back, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I am a big believer in that. And I'm not necessarily convinced that if we'd started 5 at the back, we would have played any better than we did when we then switched to it when Rose was injured. I'd have probably been inclined to stick to 4 at the back when Rose went off, to be honest. I think I'd have taken the chance with Scales as a fullback on the basis that we were chasing the game. And if we were going to lose, well, we might as well lose 2-0. But that's football. There's no guarantee that we would have played any better with that. I would like to have seen Federa on it at some point. I can understand why he took Beck off, but then you've got to alter your style of football accordingly. You've got to have the confidence to keep the ball on the ground. You've got to be looking to get it into the feet. You've got to get in behind the wing backs of Kiddminster in particular, and you've got to move the ball quicker. When we played Kiddminster at home, it was one of our best performances all season. But that was because we played with a high tempo. We got the ball down. We beat their press. We moved the ball quickly. And as you said, they did hunt in packs. But Kiddminster at home, they were always going to press us a little bit higher than we would usually get as a home team at Glanford Park, for example, or the Attis Arena. So you've then got to have the quality in possession, get in between the lines, look at the pocket space, particularly out wide if you're hitting them on the break. And in possession, it just wasn't quite there for us, unfortunately. Even set pieces, the delivery wasn't always that great. Beck was unlucky in the first half, like I say, but I didn't have any grumblings with the final score, unfortunately. Even when we were huffing and puffing in the last 15, 20 minutes, there was never a moment where I was thinking, yeah, we're going to score here.
Becky, Max obviously picked up there on the fact that Beck went off at a certain point, and I think the reason for that was probably due, as we saw at the end of the game, he had ice on his knee, which was strapped up at half time. With that in mind, and the fact now that Chris Ray has gone back, what do you think that says about our firepower up front? Do you think we've got enough? And would you expect to see anybody come in before the deadline next Thursday?
No, I don't expect anyone to come in. Have we heard more on Danny Whitehall yet? I know he said 6 weeks max, didn't he? Isn't that
Yeah.
to an
So,
end?
so the latest on Danny Whitehall is, as per Andy Butler's interview today, that's Thursday, on BBC Radio Humberside, he's 50-50 touch and go for featuring at the weekend.
Okay. Well, that's a shame. I don't think we'll bring anyone in. However, I really do believe that we have the willpower to get it over the line. I think we're more than capable, and I say that, but we shouldn't be reliant on just one or two people up front. We should be reliant on the whole team. And I think the team as a whole has enough in them to get us over that line. A lot of them was here with the disappointment and the heartbreak of last season. So I think they have enough to get it over the line. We know their legs are tired. We know they're exhausted. If we can get Danny Whitehall back, either Chester game or the next one after that, I think he'll bring a fresh spark, what we need. Like I said, I don't want to be reliant on people like him, Carl Roberts, and stuff like that. However, I do think we've got enough. I'm staying positive because I don't want to experience the heartbreak of last year. So, but yeah, I think we have enough, and I don't think it's something that we should worry about. I just think maybe other players might have to just step the game up a bit and not have the sloppy 10, 20 minutes where they're giving the ball away.
Yeah, I get that. Max, we touched there on the striker situation. Now, Ollie Rose on Thursday, we know, went back to Peterborough to have a look at that little niggle that came up on Tuesday night. If he's not available for this weekend, do you think Starbuck is in a position to take the bull by the horn, so to speak?
I hope so. At least the right back, we do have more options. Obviously, there's him. There's Kelly. If Butler did want to switch back to five at the back, there's also Scales at wing back. I see Becky wincing at the prospect of that. It's up from where the issue is. Unfortunately, on Tuesday night, it was difficult. And if we've got no Beck, we've got no White, or Ray's gone back to Tamworth, Fishburn's still out on loan. I would worry that our front line would lag even more than your picture. So, as a joke for any YouTube listeners,
Do we not have a recall though? 24-hour recall on Fishburn?
Yeah, they should do, and it wouldn't necessarily surprise me if they did, even if it was slightly out of desperation. Also, I wouldn't actually be totally shocked. Well, let's put it. It depends on the nature of Beck's injury, and is Whitehall genuinely fit.
You don't want to push him too quickly because
correct.
You don't want to sprint.
You rush Whitehall back, you knock him out for another 2 weeks. He misses 4 games.
Yeah,
that's really, really tough. I wouldn't be shocked if we were at least looking, seeing if there is a striker out there for the last half a dozen games that we like the look of. I know the cut-off period must be soon, if it hasn't already passed, Barra.
Next Thursday, is it?
Next Thursday, yes.
Okay, so the 27th. So it's one of the rare upsides about being in this league is that is quite late if you think about it. We'll see. We shall see. But I think we'll be okay at right back. It's up front where I worry.
I can see that. Now, Becky, of course, it is still in our hands. Based on our current projection, do you think we've got enough to get over that line?
Absolutely, 100%. I think, like I said a minute ago, I think the players that are here, a lot of them face the heartbreak that we did last season. A lot of them have got a point to prove as well. A lot of them are out of contract this summer, I believe.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of them out. Yeah, quite a lot.
Definitely.
They're going to be looking
almost all of them, really.
Yeah. If they don't want to stay or they don't have the contract renewed, they're going to have to be looking quite bright and up for it to get a new football club. So absolutely, I do think that would spur them on a little bit more as well. But yeah, I think we've got enough. I'm positive. I'm more positive than I was around Christmas time. I think I think he's got it in him. As long as he don't go back to 5 at the back all the time, then we're all right.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, of course, it's non-league day on Saturday as well as being community day at Glanford Park. So we caught up with Tom Feaheny to talk about non-league day. Well, this coming weekend obviously is non-league day. Now at Scunthorpe United, we call it a little bit something different. It's known as Community Day. But I have here non-league reporter, stats guy. Any other titles, Mr. Tom Feaheny?
Well, you're making me blush. Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. What's non-league day all about then?
Well, it is a day, and it is so important for so many non-league clubs. And I think if you go on social media, you'll see just how many clubs really know this is a day to try and get people who maybe have thought, you know what, I've got a club nearby, but I support a Premier League side or a Championship, League One, League Two. Am I going to give it a go? Am I going to see my team, a team in that area? And it's just a day to try and drum up a bit more support. It started so many years ago. There's been so many clubs though where they get their best attendance of the season on this day. They put an offer on and they get, that vital support. And the hope is that people that, especially Premier League and Championship, who obviously aren't playing this weekend, there'll be fans who try their local non-league side and go, do you know what? They are going to be my second team going forward. When my team are away from home and I can't go or they're not playing, I will go down, I will spend that £10 and I will invest a bit of money into a club because it really, for some of these teams, it makes such a difference come the end of the season.
Of course it does. Now, as you well know, for Scunthorpe United, the non-league experience is something that's still quite new to us. This weekend, we'll likely see a record attendance in the National League North. Over 8,000 tickets sold already. What kind of advert do you think that sells to the rest of the footballing public?
Well, it's incredible. I mean, you put it on social media and immediately you've got people. I put it out about a couple of hours ago and I've already had a DM off a national journalist saying, "Are you sure that's correct?" That, because people think non-league outside of non-league. Well, how many people attend these games? Do you know what? The numbers are very impressive. And, for Scunthorpe United v Chester, it's going to be an incredible day. I mean, you've got over 1,400 Chester fans, over 8,000 Scunthorpe United fans. The record, I think by the time, this goes out, the record will be broken because the record is just over 8,000 and over 8,000's gone already. So it is just absolutely wonderful. And I think this is the thing is it will be such a great advert for the game because obviously, you've got two teams that are going for it this season and hopefully, fingers crossed from a Scunthorpe point of view, it's 3 points, but from a neutral point of view, it's just a great occasion and a game where, maybe people who have gone, I'll go and see Scunthorpe for the first time. Maybe they go, do you know what? I'll keep coming back now because, I've gone to a couple of Scunthorpe games over the last few years and really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the atmosphere. So hopefully, that'll be the case for Scunthorpe this weekend.
You touched on that record attendance there, including the playoffs. I think the record attendance is currently 8,034, which ourselves and Boston set last season in the National League North semi-final. Off the top of my head, I think the record attendance for a regular season game was set by us and Chester last season at just short of 8,000. So unbelievable to top that again this season. Just finally then, Tom, before you go, any fans of a Football League club at a bit of a loose end this weekend, what would you recommend that they do?
Well, quite simple, isn't it, really? Go and see your local non-league club play. The amount of people that on these days, they're paying a lot of money, and there are some Premier League clubs now that are charging astronomical amounts for matches. Basically just to enter the stadium for that price, you can go to a non-league game, you can get a pie, a burger, you can get some alcohol, you can enjoy yourself, you can bring the kids, you can basically have your entire experience for the price of just entering a Premier League ground. So that is the simple message is if you are at a loose end, try your local side, try a local non-league club because it really does make such a difference come the end of the season.
Well, Becky, they were the thoughts there of Tom Feaheny. Non-league day, fantastic prospect, fantastic opportunity for a lot of football fans who maybe don't get to experience non-league football this weekend to go and immerse themselves in that experience, what does non-league day mean to you?
Look, I've had some of my best memories in non-league grounds, away games, train games. I've also had some of my worst. I've had broken wrists at Tamworth.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've had some great times, and non-league is it's superior to the EFL, I think. I mean, I love the days in the Championship and the League One. However, non-league just hits differently, and the fans are just so much more passionate. I love it. It's about celebrating the fans as well. It's about celebrating loyalty. I know quite a lot of teams have actually lowered the ticket prices, like Mickle absolutely loads of places, Kettering Town. I see people that go to Arsenal on a weekend, they're going to Kettering Town and Bedford Town. Honestly, it's wonderful to see. But imagine being in the sixth tier of football and selling 8,000 tickets. That is just insane. And that is non-league. That is incredible.
Yeah, big shout out to Chester on that front as well.
Absolutely.
Because this is possibly, I think, the only fixture at either ground where you could get those kind of crowds. You know what, they're bringing about 1,500.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put it like this: when Millwall came to us in the League One playoff semi-final second leg, what did they bring? About 800.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So the fact that Chester in the sixth tier, 3 divisions below that game, are bringing pretty close to double that support. That's quality support. This could very easily be a League Two game, and I've seen this game in League Two.
Yeah, indeed we have, haven't we? That just as a point of reference, that Millwall game, I do have a memory that we restricted their tickets that day. I remember that definitely happened. I remember that being a big thing at the time. But it's a good point. It's a lot of tickets.
Well, we'll argue about this offline because I don't remember that. But we're all getting old. We're all getting old now, Barra.
Well, some getting a bit older than others, Max. It has to be said. This coming Saturday, of course, it's a huge fixture. It's a huge game, Max. It feels to me like a 6-pointer. We talked before the Kiddminster game about what kind of points total from the next 2 games would be a good return. I'm going to throw it back at you now and say we've lost that game. What do we need from Saturday?
Good performance. I don't think it's a must-win game for us. There's still a lot of twists and turns left in the season. We've still put ourselves in the pole position, really. You look at some of the fixtures, and obviously everyone's talking about the fact that Brackley have got a game in hand, but that is against Kiddminster. So both of them can't win that game. Let's see what happens. It's a big game, but likewise, it's not season defining. You know, we go and beat Chester and then lose our next 2. Well, we've taken a step backwards, then, haven't we? Let's see what happens. I think back to Chester last season. Obviously, it was a point, but you know, we came from behind with 10 men, and in a big game, in a really difficult situation, really rallied, didn't cave under pressure. We actually played angry, and that wasn't something we did in a lot of really big games last season. It was a good point. So I think Iron fans will be thinking, we've got to get to win. We've got to get the win, but it depends on the performance, depends on the result, depends on the refereeing. Let's see. You know, as long as we're there top come the end of April, that's all that matters.
Same question for you, Becky. What are you expecting from Saturday? Because it feels like a huge game.
See, I'm a bit different to Max, I'm not going to lie. I think, although I won't be devastated if we come away with a point, I think we need to go into it as a must-win game. I think the next 4 we need to go in as a must-win game. We don't have the time to slack off now. It's so close. I think it's like 5 points between first us and 4th Kiddminster. I think, yeah. And then the next one's 65. So we've got a little bit of a gap. And obviously playoffs is near enough secured, if not secured. However, it is just so tight, and I don't think we can give away sloppy 2 points. And like everyone said, and I remember it, I said to you, Barra, earlier about when we was at Wembley, I know it's completely different, but the commentator said we need to play the game, not for the occasion. And I think that needs to be the same on Saturday. And I'm really excited. Like, it's a great game. However, we need to remember the aim game is not the fans, it's the 3 points at the end to stay on the top of the table.
Yeah, that's got to be the aim, hasn't it, Max? Even now, and this is, I think you said last week, Max, you made a really good point about now there's a huge prize on offer. Whereas at the start of the season, you and I definitely would have taken playoffs. I know we would have. But now, as the season progresses and things open up, Max, you're looking at that and going, you've got to gamble. We've got to gamble on winning these games, right?
I'm going to gamble, Jim. We're going to gamble. Let's go for it. Let's try and win the speedboat. Yeah, you're right. I'm just looking at the table now, and 90 points would probably be enough. Like 5 wins out of 7. I think that'll be enough based on the sides. Bracknell have had a little bit of a wobble. Obviously, we lost on Tuesday night. Kiddminster have previously wobbled. Let's see. I think there's going to be a couple of twists and turns between now and the end of the season. Chester are a good side. They're second for a reason. They'll be bang up for it. They'll have a really strong away back in. And it can come down to fine moments. It's one defensive slip. It's one moment of genuine quality. It's one dodgy refereeing decision. It's one spot-on tactical sub. It's maybe one tactical mistake from either manager. Let's see, because obviously it wasn't that long ago. Was it 3 months ago? Chester were, I believe, did they not drop into the bottom half at some point? They really did have a slump, and that they've run it very strongly. So let's see. I'm a bit wary about predictions for the best of times. So as long as it's a good performance.
I think we need to start on the front foot. And if there's going to be an early goal, I think it needs to be ours. Because if it's not, then we know the DRE will tell the players exactly what they think. So as long as we start on the front foot, and if there is a goal early on, which I do think both teams will score, I think if there is a goal early on and it's ours, I think we've got what we need to take it through. But it is quite daunting, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it feels like sliding doors moment almost. Like if we win this, you would think we'd be favourite then to go and take the title. And if we lose, I'm not saying our title hopes are over, because certainly not, but we have it all to do looking at Brackley's running and even looking at Chester's running. Now, Becky, when we look at our running, we mentioned now that we've got 7 games to go. And Max alluded to the fact that 90 points might / probably should be enough. How many points do you think we will get from the remaining 7 games? And where do you see us kind of slipping up?
So I think we're going to get, I think I mentioned 15. I think 15 points. I think we're going to, let me have a look. I think we might draw against Chester, although I really want to win, obviously. I think we might draw against Chester, win Southport, Radcliffe. I think we'll draw against Spennymoor. I just have a feeling, I have an inkling. We'll draw against them. Win against Kings Lynn and Peterborough Sports, and draw at Hereford, but hopefully it's done by Hereford. So we can
that would take us to 90 points.
Yeah.
Do you think that's enough?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. It's a lot of points, isn't it? It's a lot, and if we can get them wins. I mean, if we can get more wins, brilliant. And if we can get them quite early on, so we're not so reliant at the end of the season, the last 2 or 3 games, that would be absolutely brilliant. I do think 90 points is enough, yeah.
Fair enough. That's pretty fair. Well, that's our kind of views on the Chester game. Let's hear now from a Chester City fan, and let's see what he has to say about this fixture. Well, I should say we've got Chester FC fan, not Chester City fan, Joe Brownbill. Joe, thanks for joining us. I mean, your big day, your big cup final, is it on Saturday?
I wouldn't say it's a cup final, but obviously it's a monumentous occasion, really. Obviously, well, from what I've seen about the ticket sales, was it 8,000 sold so far? I think it's 1,450 Chester fans. So, obviously, as I've said on Twitter so many times, it is monumentous in terms of how many people are turning up. It's unheard of for this division, really. Obviously, maybe in the National League, like with the likes of Oldham and Rochdale, you probably get higher crowds because obviously they're 2 massive clubs, but not at National League North level. It's crazy, mate. And it's one of them. From the last time I spoke to you, obviously I wasn't that confident in us in any way from the last time we played you, but now I'm more confident than ever, really. Obviously, we slipped up against Needham Market. I think we had about 20 shots and we just couldn't put the ball in the net, mate. And then obviously we drew 1-1, so it's just obviously we won our last 2 home games, so that was important, really. But we're on a good run, so hopefully it'll be a good day anyway. I'll definitely be there, so it should be a good day.
I know there's often barbs on social media about attendances and stuff, but Chester, maybe the home attendance isn't the best, but they do seem to travel well. What do you think it is about away days that kind of brings the fans out?
In all fairness, especially with the home crowds, I've said this so many times. Essentially, the problem is so many people in Chester are plastic Man United, Liverpool, and Everton fans. It's just, plus it doesn't help there's a Liverpool shop in Chester. That really doesn't help the equation. But it's with the home crowds, we have like a steady crowd, and it doesn't really drop or increase that much. Like we can, like on odd occasions on a Tuesday night, we can get like 1,700, which I think we got in one of the other Tuesday games the other week. But it's one of them. It's in a range of between 2,000, 2,500, really. Anything above that's unheard of, really, in my opinion. But especially with the away support, obviously we've got such a loyal supporter base, especially away anyway. Like we take good numbers anyway. I think we took 650 to Chorley. I think Southport 2 years ago, 1,500. Obviously we took 1,100 to you last season. It's just we're very consistent in that aspect, but obviously not with the home crowds, unfortunately. But that, in my opinion, that's down to the Liverpool, Man United, and Everton situation. That's why our home crowds are so low, really.
Yeah,
that's it, really.
I was possibly being a little bit cheeky there. No, I don't think you haven't got bad attendances at home, not at all, particularly compared to other teams in this division. And to be honest, attendances aren't the be all and end all. Or it was more a question of, it just interests me that so many fans like come out for the away days, and it's not just the fact that it's Scunthorpe, because actually you do travel very well away from home. So I was just interested in that, really. All right, let's look at the league table so far. Scunthorpe obviously currently sit top with 75 points. Level in terms of games played now with Chester, but Chester find themselves just 2 points behind us. Gun to your head, Joe. Who do you think will win the title this season?
Realistically, in my opinion, it'd still be you, because in my opinion, you've got the best squad in the league. You've got the best squad depth in the league by far. Maybe not in the striker department at the moment. I've seen, didn't one of your strikers go back to Tamworth that was on loan, I think? Yeah. But I still think it'd be you. The problem is with us, we don't lose from a team that have blown us away. It's more or less we always lose from our own individual mistakes. So we're very prone to that in many respects. So I still think it'd be you. But I think we if we do beat you on Saturday, I think we more than could do it. But I don't really see it happening. I reckon it'll be a draw on Saturday, another draw. I think it'd be 1-1. But you never know. I still think it'd be you though that'll win it.
We talked about Scunthorpe, or we're always talking about it still being in our hands, but I guess the anomaly is it's still in Chester's hands too, because if you beat us, it's advantage to you guys, right? That gap opens up on Brackley. It might remain at 2 points between them and yourselves and Brackley as it is now, or it could expand even further. Yeah, they'd have that game in hand, but you'd be in a fantastic position.
In all essence, with us, it just comes down to consistency now, really. Obviously, it was like a period in December where we were sat in like 12th. And I think we were just going to play our rearranged game against Leamington. And after beating them 4-1 away, we just went on like I think it was a 7 or 8 game winning streak, which obviously bumped us up to first, which was a bit of a whoa, you know what I mean? It was a bit of a drastic change. But in all fairness, I wouldn't say we haven't been too inconsistent since then, but it's one of them. It's just staying on top of it. We've got quite a few hard fixtures. We've obviously got you. We've got Kersnashton at home. The week after we play you, we've still got Hereford to play, Kings Lynn to play. We've got quite a few hard fixtures, but we've got 3 decent home games. So it is what it is. But from this position, it is in your hands, because obviously you're top of the league, you're 2 points clear. But it's one of them. Like I think if you would have won on Tuesday, I think it would have dampened down the excitement a little bit, because obviously you would have been 5 points clear. obviously we're on the same games, but I think because you lost the other night, it creates a bit more excitement in terms of our end, more or less, than your end.
No, and our end massively, because it goes from being, if we'd have picked any points up right on Tuesday night, any points again on Saturday would have been a good return. But it's, I wouldn't say it feels like a must win, but we really do need to be winning, I would say.
Especially because you're at home as well, because obviously I've seen Andy Butler's interview about Danny Whitehall, and I am thinking, I think he's playing a bit of mind games there. I think he will feature at some point. Like, I see what you were saying about it, but I think he will feature. Either he'll come off the bench or something. I don't think he'll start.
Hang about. I thought you said you don't watch our manager interviews.
Okay, let's not go into this. I did before. Okay. I'm getting grilled for this now.
You're not getting grilled. I'm only joking, Joe. So when we played earlier on in the season, I have to be honest, I thought Chester looked a really decent outfit. I thought at times Scunthorpe struggled that day. I thought you looked like a really experienced National League North team. From that point to this point, I've been impressed with how we've kind of adapted, and I think we've kind of started to really, really come good. What's it been like for Chester in these interim months? Because you talked about a bit of a roller coaster, really. You dropped and now you've picked up. What's the vibe at the minute?
I think it's all positive. In all fairness, you probably can see on Twitter I'm quite a negative person, because I feel like if I'm more negative, it dampens down the feeling of losing, for my opinion. I'm not negative on purpose, it's just I do it for that reason. But especially the last few months, it's been all right. Obviously, since we went on that winning streak, it's been great ever since, really. But obviously, that Needham Market game just sticks in my head, because it's just we should have won that game at least 6-1. But we do have a problem with putting the ball in the back of the net in most occasions. So that could be something that Scunthorpe could capitalise on, really, because we're not very clinical, mate. Even though we do win games, we're just not. We're not like you, who will go and batter Farsley when they had their full squad. Yeah, because obviously Farsley had their full squad and you battered them 6-0. You know what I mean? We're not a team that will do that. Obviously, we beat Rushall 4-0 like a month ago, but we're not necessarily a team that will bag in 5 or 6. You know what I mean? It's very close, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Well, one thing I've really enjoyed, Joe, is being in the same league as Chester, because both ex-Football League clubs, both relatively well supported, and
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be a disaster, would it, if we both went up this season to kind of carry that on? Because I think what I see on social media, it's friendly barbs between the two. It's nice to have a little bit of needle sometimes, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's just proper good. Like, I feel like the banter makes it better, though.
I agree.
I think, obviously, not taking it too far, but obviously that odd banter here and there, it just makes it a bit more. It just entices you a bit more.
You want to get one over the other one, don't you? Like that. That's the thing, because both clubs are so well supported. It is a bit like, I want to do them,
Yeah, we're not like Brackley, who get like 350 fans for a home game, but yeah, it's fine. Well, less about the attendances, the better. But yeah, it's just with Saturday, we've just got to turn up. Like, most times we don't turn up in big games, and I'm sure your fans will say the same about you.
Yeah, that's right.
Especially in front of big crowds anyway. But like, every time we get over 2,500 at home, we don't perform. I know obviously that'll be minor numbers to for you.
Listen, that's very respectable. Like 2,500 is a very good turnout for the 6th tier, mate.
Yeah, what do you average at home? Is it 3.8?
Yeah, bang on. 3.85, yeah.
Yeah, so
You've done your research, man. I think you're a closet Scunny fan, Joe.
I spent too much time on Twitter, that's why. That's fine. But yeah, in terms of Saturday, we've just got to turn up, really. Obviously, we're bringing a load of fans. Hopefully, there's no trouble, or hopefully it's just a smooth game.
Yeah.
Just chat, obviously, exchanging banter and stuff like that. But hopefully it all goes smoothly, mate. That's what I want, so I'm sure everyone else will want the same. But it's just one of them. It's just a monumentous occasion for this division, you know what I mean? Because obviously you won't see this very often. Maybe for a massive playoff game between two teams that shouldn't be in this league, but it's unheard of, isn't it? Really, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. Right, just before you go, then, Joe, do you want to hit us up with a score prediction?
Yeah, I would. As I said, I think it'll be 1-1. I think you'll score. I think Carlton will get a goal. in the 30th minute-ish, and then I think we'll get a 70th minute equaliser, and then we'll just see it out, really. That's what we tend to do normally when we equalise against a higher placed team. We normally just see it out, really. But yeah, I think it'll be 1-1. Carlton will get your goal, and then I was trying to think. I think Connor Woods will get his first goal for us. So yeah, 1-1.
I think I can see a team winning it, but I don't know who will win it. I don't think it will be a draw. I actually think both teams will really chuck everything at this to get a result. And I could see a team nicking it. So I don't know which way, but I'm going to go 1-0 either way.
I'm only saying that is because we're not clinical. If we were clinical, then I'd be a lot more confident, but we're not clinical. So I'm just going to go for a modest 1-1 and then see where it goes. I could be wrong, but I'll go for a modest 1-1 anyway.
Okay, then. So they were the thoughts there of Joe Brownbill from Chester. Interesting thoughts, and it really just set this one up. But let's move on now to our usual segment, our hero, idiot, and moment of the week. Becky, do you want to hit us off with your hero of the week?
Yeah, my hero is Lucy Bronze. So if anyone knows me, I'm a huge advocate for autism, anything autism. My daughter's autistic, so her coming out and actually being a role model, because a lot of autistic women don't actually get the diagnosis. So seeing her and seeing how successful she is a really, really good one for all female, well, everyone who's autistic in the community. However, it's a real good thumbs up for women who are autistic, to show them exactly what they can do and what they can achieve.
Very wholesome answer. Max, who's your hero of the week?
So obviously Becky's given the correct answer and give it a point. My hero of the week changed today, actually, after they announced the death of the former Formula. Say that when you're pissed. Boss Eddie Jordan. Now I'm not actually a massive F1 fan. My brother is into it a bit, but Jordan was a proper character. You see the multi-billion-dollar companies, and basically an Irish Barra boy was able to muscle his way into the crazy world of beyond big business. His podcast he did with David Coulthard was actually quite good. It was quite funny, even for non-F1 fans. And yeah, seeing somebody like that in a big world like that, it'll be poorer without him. But look, Becky gave the correct answer. Give it a point.
Thank you for telling me what to do. Yeah, Becky just got the point.
It's reverse psychology.
You can tell Barra's back. I get a point.
Becky is our hero of the week. Let's move on to idiot of the week. And Max, who's your idiot of the week?
My idiot of the week are the Rangers supporters who've been criticised by even their own club. They're now going to lead them to getting fined, putting an absolute, just a ridiculous banner up in the middle of their European game. But they should have been focusing on the fact that it was a really big game and that they were playing Fenerbahce, and obviously they won on penalties. But I think there's a phenomenon, my views on Rangers Football Club are well documented, but there's some of their supporters in particular who are cosplaying at the fact that they think they're sort of wild Hungarian ultras. No, mate, you're not. You're a lot of 15-year-olds from Falkirk. Get over yourselves. And I like the fact that the Rangers club criticised them quite so strongly, and they deserve ridicule from their own club and their own fans.
That was a good line, that Max. I like that. Becky, who's your idiot of the week?
Sorry, I just had to wake up then. Sorry. Mine's not as extravagant as that. Mine's probably the officials at the Kiddminster game, because they were shit. Max kept saying, the ref didn't do this, the ref didn't do that. However, we shouldn't have to accept that some refs are arseholes. We should get a fair shout at it. So mine's for the officials, especially the ref in the second half.
And they were. I mean, obviously, you know as well, Barry. They were crap. That substitution that took about 90 seconds, where the ref just completely lost the plot. It was like having Jerry ref just without the banter. It was just awful. He was genuinely horrific in that second half.
It was, and I'm sorry to do this to you, Max, but Becky gets the points again, which
wounded
makes it an unassailable lead as we move into the moment of the week. But Max, what was your moment of the week?
My moment of the week was Newcastle United breaking their 70-year drought for a trophy. They're a proper club, having an entire away end singing "Shearer sent you down, na 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 na," is one of my funniest memories as a Scunthorpe fan. Liverpool are going to win the Premier League, and they're going to win it very comfortably. They've had plenty of trophies in recent years, but seeing the joy on Newcastle fans' faces, literally an entire lifetime since they last won it. And I particularly like the fact that it was a local lad who'd done it for them as well, Dan Burns from Blythe.
From Blythe.
Yeah, who's just been called up to the England squad as well, very well deserved, particularly given England's lack of quality at centre half. So yeah, that was as a football fan, that was a good moment where I went, yeah, you know, all power to you.
Well, I'm going to level you now with my Sunderland allegiance. It's going to be very difficult to give you that point. Becky, what was your moment of the week?
Becky, go for the same answer. He has to pick one of us.
Well, I was actually thinking that, but I didn't want to get the 3 points.
You've basically got an open goal if it's anything.
Mine's Scotty Twitter asking fans to get rid of their baskets if they're not going to pay for the 15 tickets. The last 15 tickets in the DRE because other people want to buy them. Literally on Twitter saying, if you're not going to buy them, shove off the website. Last 15 tickets. That is crazy. It's great. I'm loving it.
I haven't seen this. How have I missed this?
Yeah, and it's been a thing before. I remember at one game, like contacting the ticket office, going, "Is it really sold out in there yet?" And it turned out that some swear word had like 50 tickets in their basket for a laugh. So yeah, it's good that it's a sellout, even if I think they've had to. The capacity of the Donny Road isn't quite what it was back in the glory days, because now we've got health and safety, and we don't want people to get crushed.
Well, no, not ideally. If Marco was here, we'd talk about that Friday night right now where that lad went down down the steps. Yeah, that was mental. But anyway, I'm pleased to say that under my watch, this is the first ever clean sweep. So Becky does in fact win 3-0. Which is insane, Max. I am sorry.
You're not sorry. Don't lie to me.
I'll send you the bank details later.
But also, it's fitting because under my watch as temporary dictator, Becky lost 3-0. So it's a fair swap.
Indeed, it is. Right. That wraps up this episode of the INL podcast. Thank you for sticking with us through our technology issues. Don't know if you noticed, but we're struggling there at times.
None of this it was all you, Barra. Don't blame me and Becky for that.
Oh, we're a team, Barra. Don't worry. We all go.
I know, Becky. That's why you're my favourite, Becky. It has to be said. Thank you for listening to the INL podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, Best Blanks Wholesale. And good luck to each and every one of you Iron fans listening to this, getting nervous ahead of the game on Saturday. Let's hope we do it. Up the Iron. I'm Scunthorpe till I die. I'm Scunthorpe till I die.